Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order for our millage rate and our bond rate. And I'm going to ask Mr. Williams if he would to lead us in prayer and pledge.
May bow your head. I'm pray. Father, we are grateful and thankful to be able to come together tonight. Continue to ask for your wisdom and guidance in the discussion tonight for the tax year. And we're asking you to give us just wisdom in how to discuss these matters today in an appropriate manner, in a productive manner, so that the board members can make the best decision with the information that they have presented in front of them. Continue to bless the school system for just safety, and just continue to bless our financial status of the school system for our particular discussion on tonight. Just continue to strengthen and bless. In your name, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. So we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, the government, if you'll begin with the presentation.
All right. Well, good evening to each and every one of you. We thank you for coming tonight to our second hearing. Tonight we're going to do something different than this morning. We're going to start with Mr. Norman. He's going to give us go over our approved budget, and then I will go over the financials and the presentation. And then after I finish the presentations, the board members will have an opportunity to ask any questions and express any comments, and then we can hear from the floor after that. Mr. Norman.
Thank you. The very first thing to look at is the left column, general fund. This is the main fund that we talk about. This is all of our local and state revenue. You can see the local taxes estimated at 5.3 million is where we were planning to be, and with that amount, we approved a $300,000 deficit for the year. So that is obviously operating in the red. It's not where we would like to be. We have a lot of mandated expenses. I think we had over $500,000 in insurance increase for FY25. Some of these things we just do not have control over. 85% of our budget is mandated wages by the state. We also increased our substitutes and paraprofessional salaries really for the demand. We needed more parapros and subs, so we did what we could to entertain those. Other than that, any questions?
Okay. All right. Thanks, sir. We'll jump right into our presentation. I think most of you are familiar with this page. This is the page we had to post in the Lincoln Journal. It is our 5-year tax digest, and as you can see, from year 2023 to 2024, our tax digest went up almost 14%, from 367 million to 421 million. And so because of that, we're going to look at the next page and kind of just go over how that came into play with the money, with the reassessments and the things we can control. So if you look at the millage rollback form, the first column shows you the 2023 digest. And again, it was at 367,107,330. That second column, the reassessment column, was that number, 41,567,000, represents the inflationary number. It's an inflationary number. So these are things the homeowners did nothing to do, or didn't do anything to cause it. It was just a reassessment of the property, of the existing property. The next column is things that the homeowner did, either added new homes, made improvements, and additions. And that total was 12,498,450. So those two combined, the second and third column, gave us the 2024 digest of 421,172,890. So we had a significant increase. And if you look at this form, it'll show you with the examples of how to calculate the rollback rate. So if you look at the formula and then just do the math, it's simple math. When they came up with the math, The rollback rate is 13.591. So that's saying if we roll back to 13.591, we will get the same amount of money plus an additional $180,000. Okay. So one issue with that is equalization. If you go below 14 mills, you will not earn equalization monies. And this year we earned $575,000 in equalization. So that's money that came from the state to us. But you have to be at 14 mills. If you're below 14 mills, you will not receive it. So if we go back to the rollback rate, the requested rollback rate, we will not receive that money. And that's $575,000 we will be short of next year. So, and we'll come back to that. All right, next page. So these are the scenarios that I presented to the board members of assuming the full rollback, which is the second column, which is what I just talked to you about, which is, it'll be below the 14 mills. That would generate about $188,000 in excess of revenue. And I do want to point out the estimated collection rate. That we do have to pay the tax commissioner, and then there are some sometimes people don't pay the taxes, so we actually put that amount in there as well. So we use a 97% collection rate. So really, of that money, we would collect about $182,892 if we assume the full rollback. What we're proposing is the half meal rollback. And in that half meal rollback, we would gain an estimated $586,528. So that's what we're looking at. Those are the options the board is looking at. No rollback, half a meal rollback, and full rollback, and then a 1 meal rollback. And you see those numbers in front of you. Next page. You might have to blow it up just a little bit. So at the half meal rollback, and I think a lot of the taxpayers' properties increase, what this shows you is your previous year plus an increase in your property at the old millage rate and at the proposed half a meal roll. Go down a little bit, Mr. Williams. A little bit more, yeah, there we go.
Half meal.
Yep, right there, half a meal. So if your house was valued at $75,000 and it increased to $100,000, then the increase for your taxes would be $131.27 from the old rate to the new rate, and that's about $10.94 a month additional. So that's what we're looking at. And again, we have it up to $300,000, and scroll down just a little bit. So if your house valued at $250,000, increase to $275,000. This year you'll pay $1,500 roughly in taxes. With the rollback rate of a half meal, it is $1,600. So the difference increase of tax that you'll pay is $97.11, almost $8 more a month for next year, even after lowering the millage rate a half. Next. This is just another sheet that just shows the fair market value of your home times the current millage rate, and then times the proposed half meal rate. And it just goes from $75,000 all the way up to $500,000 just to see how much you would pay next year at this new half meal rate, decrease rate. Last year and this year, it has been requested to get our counties, neighboring counties, and just look at their millage rate. So if you see Lincoln County, our millage rate right now is 15.079, and you can see our neighboring counties, because a lot of times we hear how are they faring. So Wilkes County, you see, is 17.150, Warrenton 18.32, and Burke, of course, with Platte Vogel, the lowest millage rate in the area, 12.5. Next. So we talked a little bit about equalization and why we need it. This is a formula that was created, and it is a difficult formula to understand, but it takes into account every county's tax digest. It takes account of their FTEs, and they have this formula. And at the end, if you're above 14 mills, and if your average is above 53 at this cutoff point now, then you will receive funds, which means the top 53 was considered the wealthiest counties in Georgia based on the formula. Okay, so counties 1 through 53 didn't receive any FTE. Counties 54 through 180 received some funds. This year, Lincoln County, we were ranked number 67. So that is very close to 53. So depending on our neighboring counties, their tax valuation, their millage rates, again, it can just fluctuate. And we can't create the formula here. I mean, we can't calculate the formula here. Somebody has to get all of the digest for all of the state, and then it's calculated. I wish we could, and that way we can let you know that yes, we will get it and we won't get it. So we don't know if we'll get it next year or not, even if we're above the 14, because we don't know what the next county is doing and how their tax digest is increasing. If you look at that sheet, Wilkes did not receive any equalization. They were at 52. They ranked 52. Warren County ranked 85. Elberton ranked 111. And Columbia County, just down the road, they ranked 78, and they received almost $20 million in equalization funding. And Richmond County was ranked number 93. And we can come back to that if you have any questions about equalization. The next document is our QBE sheet, and this document we received in April, May of the preceding year, and it tells us how much money we'll receive from the state. And it's broken down by teachers, it's broken down by special ed categories, it's broken down in administrative salaries. So this is the sheet that tells us how much the state of Georgia is funding us. So if you go to the right, you'll see that the state funds us 1 superintendent and 2 assistant superintendents and all 3 principals. The state funds us that money. Now, it doesn't fund the whole amount from this sheet, but we do earn training and experience money that does help also. So the state sends $62,000 for a superintendent, and because I have a doctorate degree, they will send additional monies on top of that. And we can get into that if you have more questions. So as you see, the state, go all the way down, Mr. Williams, the state sends us $9.9 million for teachers, administrators, transportation, and you see the 575 in equalization, that's there, 45,000 in nurses' salaries, and so that's how we get our state funding. The next page, this is the detail of the sheet we just showed you, and it breaks it down by line item for every single salary. So if you have any further questions on how salaries is broken down, we can look at this sheet and explain it to you. But I did want you to know that that's available from the state of how everything is broken down with state money.
You make mention too of the, what's happening in the paper, and how it is showing in the paper that it's actually.
Yes, so the state tells us how to print the advertisement in the paper, and it's kind of misleading. So this is the guide we use, and it's called the Compliance Guide for Advertising Digest History and Public Hearings on Increasing Property Taxes. So even though we are lowering our millage rate or anticipating on lowering it $0.5 mil, it's still an increase because your property value went up. But this board, hopefully, through some discussion, we're looking at lowering the millage rate from last year. And we have to advertise it exactly like they tell us to advertise it, but it can be misleading to the taxpayers as a tax increase, even though we're lowering the millage.
Have a question, board? Everybody good?
I do have one, so.
Okay.
I wanna make sure I understand this right, so if we go with the $0.5 mil rollback, our budget is still gonna be in the negative $311,000? Is that correct, or 211?
I don't think it's the 311. I
It's
think
two-
it's the 311 is where we are now. Is that right?
311.
311 is where we at. Before.
That was assuming the full rollback.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was before any taxes.
can you go back to that page? It's toward the beginning.
Mr. Williams?
I think it's the one before that. Scroll
You
up.
talking about how
a bit.
much we'll be
Scroll up a
receiving?
little bit right there. Yeah, it might not be on there. Go back down. Let's see. He knows where it is, I guess. Yeah, I want to know. So I want to make sure that I understand, and everybody here understands that our budget is in the negative. Even if we lower the millage rate a half a mil, we're still going to be in the negative. We're going to have to. There it is, right there. 221. It's either 311 or 221.
Yeah,
Which one is it?
I think it's the 221.
Yeah, the end.
Okay.
That's all the revenue.
221 is our total, the 311 is just our local budget.
So if we leave the millage rate like it is and don't roll it back at all,
We're gonna be the,
we will be less in the negative, correct?
yes.
Correct. The 160,000 right there where the mouse is actually our SPLOST and bond revenue and expenses, which, as we all know from prior meetings, is above where it should be.
Right.
We've collected more than we've had to pay, but we cannot use those funds for anything else.
Okay. I just want to make sure I was clear on that.
That's through that.
Mhm.
221.
It was like 182 if we do the half real. I mean, we'd receive 500 something if we did the half mil, but it'd be like 800 something if we didn't do the rollback at all.
That's right.
So, okay, at this time, we will accept questions from the floor, and anyone that wants to ask a question, what we'd like for you to do is stand and state your name, so we'll have that on record, and then also your question and discussion, you're allowed about 3 minutes. So we'll take those from anybody now that's got any questions for us.
I'll stand up first.
Okay?
My name is Julie Livingston. I'm sure you don't want to hear this, but my question is the senior citizens. I know, Richmond County comes off of the school tax at 65. Columbia County comes off at 70. Is that ever going to happen here, possibly, for a discount? It doesn't look like it, what I'm hearing with the figures.
I don't see how that's possible right now. I don't know with the county growing. Of course, if you look at the document where in the county in the last 12 months, we have increased new houses and all of that has increased about $13 million.
Yeah.
So there are people coming in, and so I can't speak as to what the future will look like as far as that. But right now, it's a difficult situation because of, where we are as far as operating in
I
the.
understand you wanted to build a school system. I mean, my daughter's an educator. My dad was a retired colonel and he was a principal, so I can't commend, it's just, to continue on with what you're doing here, but it's just financially, when you think about not ever getting a break.
Right.
And I guess I, did some research and thinking, has there ever been any thought about maybe consolidating the boards in different, areas?
Consolidating.
When I say the board of education, say with Wilkes County and Lincoln County, we're just, out of the whole United States, Texas has got the most counties. Georgia is the second with 159 counties. We're standing alone here with nothing. How are we ever gonna catch up?
Dr. Gumby, don't you get a $2,000 exemption after you're a certain age? Didn't you tell
Well,
us
you get
that?
that for an age,
2,000.
but financially you do.
Homestead.
But there's a lot
The
of
homestead,
financial.
there's not another one for after you're a certain age?
Certain age and income,
Okay,
Yeah.
what is that?
10,000.
Yeah, you have to be
Yeah.
below 10,000,
Okay.
and that's
Yeah.
just.
And I think, and I
That's
could be
above the
wrong,
exemptions
That's
too.
pretty low.
I don't know the exact numbers for Richmond, Columbia County, but those exemptions are
I mean,
pretty
I
low
was a
adjusted
homeowner
gross.
at 19, and I paid school taxes before a child, and I
Yeah.
paid them for a long time, and I don't mind paying them, but
Mhm.
they're extremely high. I'm looking at maybe 50%. Get in there and adjust the sales. Don't you get federal money too? Isn't Lincoln a Title I?
Yes,
They're all Title Is, am I right?
yes, correct.
Don't you get federal funds also?
Yes.
Because I didn't see that on any of the spreadsheets.
It's,
This is on that top,
Oh, okay.
right
I
there,
must have missed.
federal,
Oh,
270.
okay. There you go.
Is this
And-
package available to the public?
If I could just ask one
Yeah,
other
exactly.
question, I didn't see
Can see
anything,
it.
teachers,
Yeah.
supplements up there where the teachers get their supplements through the board money?
that's in there. But again, I guess if you're asking for a detailed report, we can get that to you.
Well, I mean, I know that, you know, the salary's public information, that's
Right.
just like the city of Augusta, they're all over the place, you can look and see, so that's no big deal, but supplements, how much out of the board education or tax money is going to supplements? You have that?
We don't have it here, but we can definitely get it for you.
So, yeah.
And I think you said it, but 85% of what we spend is salaries that are mandated, I mean, by the state. We don't have any choice.
Right.
85%.
And I would say our local supplement is probably the lowest in all the surrounding counties.
I think our local teacher supplement ranges from $2,200 to $4,400 per teacher.
But I was just, you know, I didn't see that on there, so I was just wondering, you know, just.
And we do struggle from time to time with teachers and coaches and that kind of thing.
I know, it's
Because,
hard.
and the
I mean,
reason
they
is,
need to be paid.
they know they can go
I
across the river. They can go across the river and get a whole lot more money than what they can get right here.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's
so,
sad.
it's easy for them to go across the river and get $5,000 in a supplement versus,
Gotta find another way to get some money for everybody, you know, I mean, there again, like I said, I'm not gonna pack up and leave and go back to Richmond County where I
Right.
came from, that's for sure. I'm gonna pay it, but we've gotta find another way to get some money in this community,
you're absolutely right. It would be great.
you know? And I don't know how you're gonna do it, but with this panel, hopefully you can put your heads together and figure out something.
We don't have any industry, we don't have an interstate, we don't have a railroad, and,
I know.
I
you
mean,
know.
we know we got a problem. We would love suggestions to fix
Well,
it.
you know, Richmond County's got all that, and I worked there 37
Yeah.
years, they have an F rating, okay? And you come off of the taxes at 65, I think that's too soon, I think you should come off at 70. They have an F rating. Nobody wants to put their kids in that school. In Columbia County, and I've got family and friends, all in Columbia County, they have issues too, they have a B rating. I think, does Lincoln have a C rating or a B rating? I heard it was, I Googled it, I thought it was a C.
What ratings are you talking about?
Just
Are you talking
the,
school rating CCRPI?
yes.
Because we haven't had those in 2 years now.
Well, I mean, people are looking at
So
that,
we're
but
B and
it's-
C.
less than 6 months ago, I asked my granddaughter, and I said, listen, I said, you wanna come up here and live with Mimi and Pop? And I said, we'll take you back home on the weekends if you wanna go to high school. And she's in Columbia County, so.
And that's where our dilemma is. We are trying to have the best school we can have and keep it at a minimum to
Right.
taxpayers.
Right.
But, you know, like I said, we're operating in the red. We're already dipping into our reserve funds. We do have some reserve funds to protect us from going in the red too far. But we're already dipping into those because we did come in $300,000 under budget this past year. And so we're trying to, you know, we increased the millage rate two mills last year. All right, we hadn't increased it in 8 years. And so it increased 2 mills last year. Now we're looking at trying to roll it back a half a mill to help as much as possible. But the bottom number is if we did not increase, I mean, if we roll back a full mill, then we'd only be getting about, I think it's $300 and something thousand. If we roll a half a mill, it gives us about 500 something thousand. And so the 500 something thousand is what we're looking at, we need to maintain. And so that's why we're proposing to do the half mill versus a full mill rollback.
And then I kind of did some research too on the per diem. I think, like Richmond County's per diem, I think is higher than Columbia County's, but this per diem per child is fairly high here, isn't it? Is there any way to lower that?
Well, if you lower that, then you get less teachers. So I don't know if I agree with lowering the per diem for teachers, because
Not the
teachers are the one, well, that's
Or
your,
per students. That's a per diem per student.
well, aren't you paying for your teachers though to have the per diem? Isn't that where the per diem comes into play?
Yeah.
You don't pay the student.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay, thank you.
thank you. I'm wrong. If I'm wrong,
Yeah.
I'll say that. I think, I don't mind speaking. I think the issue is our taxes. And I think you gotta roll it back 0.5% and get the 575. That's wrong if we don't do that, because you're just throwing $575,000 out the window. I don't think it makes any sense not to do anything other than roll it back to the 0.5% and get the 575. But the issue is since I've been here, my taxes have increased over 130-some% in 5 years. That's a huge increase. I'm with you. I'm on a fixed income. I'm retired. When I moved here, I didn't anticipate my taxes to jump 131%. That's the problem. It's not the school. I think the school's doing a great job. I think the school needs the funding. I'm okay with that. It's the increases in our taxes through our through our housing development is the problem. We don't have anything else, like you said, we don't have anything else to subsidize that income.
But most of that's because the value of your home went up, right?
Everybody's
My
homes
home
went up.
is not increased 130%.
Okay,
I mean, seriously.
Overall,
And that's
yeah,
what
o-
my taxes-
overall, though.
Overall?
Overall, as far as the county is concerned, the
Yes.
increase in housing, not necessarily yours or mine,
Right.
but overall, the increase.
Overall, my taxes alone in 5 years have increased 131%. My income has not increased 131%. Matter of fact, it's gone down because I have to pay taxes and more taxes and insurance that I pay on Social Security and et cetera. It's gone down. My income's gone down, my taxes have gone through the roof. So what are we doing on that perspective? How can we continue to raise everyone's taxes and still be at a deficit? We made $13 million more than we made last year. Where's the money going?
$500,000 of it went toward medical insurance.
Okay,
That's how much they went up.
12 and a
That's how
half
much
more.
they went up.
$1,600, $1,600 a teacher.
What's the
I mean,
totals?
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter the numbers. You guys know the numbers a lot
We're,
better than I
we're
do.
kind of like the whole country is right now. I mean, my grocery bill has doubled. My gas bill has doubled. I mean, it costs to operate this school. It doesn't mean it's gonna stay there. I mean, it's $1 million a year to operate school buses. Over $1 million a year.
I'm not taking away from the school system.
Yeah.
I'm just
I didn't say
saying,
that. I want my word to be out there. I don't think you should cut the funding for the schools. I think the rolling the millage rate down is the right decision to do to the half to get the school the money. I'm okay
but
with it.
everything we do is going up also. It's not like it's frozen.
But if we're making 13 more million than we did the year before, where is that money going? There's not $13 million in increase each year. You gotta explain that to me more. It doesn't make sense.
That wasn't a 13 million,
To us.
That's not
Right.
tax
no, that's not,
It was
that's not
What was
us.
it?
It was 180,000.
No, I understand that. I'm talking about I'm not talking about the school.
Yeah,
Oh,
the, the 13 million was the value of the houses and stuff that have been built.
Okay, so where's
So it's,
that
it's not a
money
matter of $13 million coming
That's the
into.
value.
That's the
Times
value.
millage rate.
Just say
So
you,
your
just say they
taxes-
built
okay,
25 houses or
But it's
whatever.
on 40%.
It's the
So
increase
you got
is,
how much percentage more of that coming in? Okay.
that's right. You don't have the 13 million coming in. You have the percentage of that,
Okay.
that's
All right.
correct.
It was 100 and
Each
some
year's gone
thousand.
up.
Yeah. It
180,000.
was 180,000, 182,000 for us,
That's
I
not a
think.
lot of money.
So-
There again, I don't see where the seniors are paying this kind of money. I mean, you know, I'm gonna pay it. I don't like paying it, but the only break that you're getting is if you're low income. And there's gotta be something else, you know? 65 is not gonna do, I mean.
Y'all help
go to
us.
70.
Y'all
I
help
mean,
us.
we're in the boat with you.
We all pay taxes.
All of us are right there with you.
That was my suggestion,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know you probably don't wanna hear it, I mean,
And I
but,
agree with you.
you know, it's just, I'm gonna say, you know, when you think about consolidating a school board, you know, you're doing it for cost savings, you're doing it for property tax relief, you're doing it for state aid programs, there's a lot of benefits there. And when I look at 159 counties, and I went through and I saw Richmond County's got Blythe and Hepzibah, Columbia County has Harlem, Grovetown, and here we sit. This is it, we are standalone, it is not gonna get any better. And I don't foresee 10 years from now, I mean, I'm not going anywhere, I hope. You know, I don't talk about dying here, but anyway, you know, just, I don't see the improvements over 10 years. I'm 65. What's it gonna be like when I'm 75? I'm trying to hang on to all my wealth. I don't wanna spend it. You know, I'm waiting till I get old and I can hire people to come in and do things for me, but it's not gonna get any better.
So it's a government issue above us, and we're having to play by the rules that have been given to us, and unfortunately, the rules are not really good right now. Between that and the inflation, the economy, all of these things are just snowballing into a big problem, and we're sitting in that same boat with you. I'm sitting here thinking about my tax bill, Man, I'm trying to not get upset sitting up here. We're
Everybody's
just like
property
you.
increased. I mean, throughout the whole United States, you
But-
know, I mean, everybody's home went up,
but-
so that's, I'm trying to.
But the bottom
separate
line
that
is,
from
the bottom line
the
is,
school board.
I'm from Wilkes County. I graduated from Wilkes County. We do not want to be with Wilkes County. We want to sit on our own. We are a diamond in the rough. This school system has great teachers, great administrators. That's why people move here.
Well,
At that and the lake. And what we want to do is we want to be educated like we were when we were kids. You know? Some,
well, I was shipped all over the world with education. My
Well-
daughter went to Richmond County and she has 3 degrees.
somebody paid for
You know,
me to go to school.
My
So I
father
got to do the
didn't
same
have-
thing. I have a child in college. I don't have any children in the school system. And I'd be willing to bet that I'm paying as much or more tax in this county than anybody in this room. So I feel your pain, but I'm a business person and I'm sitting up here and boy, I mean, you need to go talk to your representative, your congressman, your representative. You need to explain to them that you have these problems. Rob Leverett, that's who you need. If you want to vote for him, he's running. That's who I talked to last year, and he tried very hard to get this bill passed so that the millage rate could be 10 mil instead of a minimum of 14 to get equalization funding. It didn't go through, but he's going to try again if he's reelected. So, you guys, girls, you got to go above us. We're just a one little cog in this wheel, and we're in to play by the rules that have been given to us. And we are a great school system, and man, we are doing big things here.
And I agree, but here comes that but again. It's a panel, when you look at it, it's gotta be put to a vote as far as the consolidating boards, that it would financially help everybody in this county.
We don't want to consolidate with Wilkes County. We don't want the problems they got. We got 23 students from Wilkes County coming to our school now.
You probably have more
And
people
we-
up here than you realize.
Yeah, I mean, that's that we know of.
Greenbrier that was
Yeah.
up here, I mean, like I said, I asked my granddaughter, you know, do you wanna come up here and, you know. I'll
But we
come
get
on
money
weekends, so-
from the state if they come up here. The money follows them.
And also understand that the tax bills and stuff that you received in July, when you get your bill in December, it's gonna be less than what you actually
Yeah.
receive.
But I'm just
That's
thinking down
just
the road.
that's just an
I'm-
estimate,
every
but
year, we're gonna have to fight this. and-
with the county rollback and with our $500,000 rollback, you're gonna see your tax bill is actually gonna be less than what they proposed it would be in July,
Except for the increase in the property value.
except
Yes.
for the increase in the property.
Takes away
Actually,
that.
mine's more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So if you look
mine's
at it
gonna be
now,
one
it's,
too.
it's $400 or $500 more than it was last year, even with the rollback.
Mhm.
And that's good and bad. The good side is you got a good investment on the value for your money that you've invested. The bad side is you got to pay tax on it.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna see that.
And something else, last year, Brian Kemp gave everybody, what, $500, $400
No, it was more
off
than
the
that.
tax?
I think it was about.
We're not gonna get
1,800.
that this year either. I mean, that was I guess.
One time
It was a
deal.
one-time, it was
One-time
$500,
deal.
Yeah, it's 100 yeah, that's right, one time deal.
in addition to your homestead exemption.
We just need to bring some type of industry, something into this county that is gonna bring in tax revenue other than just the homes. Because you're not gonna get you can't continue to hit people at our age for tax values and increase it and increase it and increase it, because at some point, it becomes a boiling point, and it's real close for me. But the issue is, we've got a lot of mobile homes in this area, and a lot of areas that are gonna decrease in value. They're not gonna increase in value, so they're paying less in taxes. What can we do to that? I mean, that's not fair to us, because I got a nice house, I pay a lot more money.
I mean,
that's just not even fair.
I went to the county commissioners with that years ago, and my thoughts, used to a mobile home was a temporary housing. Now it's permanent housing. And my point to them was, if it's gonna be permanent housing, they should be taxed on square footage, just like my house is taxed on square footage. But instead of increasing theirs, there's decreases in value, so the taxes go down. Just to give you an example, when I first got married, when my wife and I got married 28 years ago, we lived in a mobile home. And I paid $67 a year taxes. I didn't pay enough money to put a tire on a school bus. So when you see these mobile homes that 4 and 5 kids are coming out of, going to school, somebody, seniors, whoever you want to say, are paying for those kids to go to school. And that's the dilemma we're dealing with as far as that as well. It's not anything against mobile homes or anything. It's a matter of they're decreasing in value, and that's something I did speak with the county commissioners about.
Any revenue that you could speak to them about as far as, implementing a splosh for just an education fund? Is there something out there like that?
I mean,
everybody pays,
we have a splosh.
We have a splosh right now, but it goes directly to
To the bond.
the bond on the school.
It can't be used for operating costs.
And it has gone up.
Yeah,
It's
it's
gone up a
increased
lot.
tremendously from about 50-something thousand to,
How much more is owed on school?
2037 is when it's paid for. I
yeah,
can't tell you
2030,
exactly.
yeah, 2037 is the payoff date. Yes, we would love industry, something to offset. I looked into different schools around us, and I know McCormick County School, they have Savannah Lakes over there that's pouring a lot of money into that school system. And McCormick County graduated 36 people last year. We graduated 87.
Upper 80s.
87. Wilkes County graduated 63. We graduated 87. McCormick County graduated 36. And I think John Delahowe, which is the private school over there now, graduated about 30. So the amount of money that Savannah Lakes is pouring into McCormick County School because of all the housing there and the retired people that have moved into Savannah Lakes is crazy amount of money. But the school system is not doing well.
But I mean, Lincoln County did that. They developed a ton of extra neighborhoods. Matter of fact, my understanding was that's what the school bond came from, anticipating that those housing developments on the lake would fill up, and they
Right.
did.
They did not. That's correct.
So.
They are now little by little, but it's still a slow process.
Yeah, you're right. It's starting.
I mean, it's been a long time. Been a long time since they were developed. That's
But
correct.
you're a home builder, right?
I am.
And those homes are selling for $500,000-600,000. Are they any in the fives? I think they probably are.
Yeah, some
Sixes
of them,
by
yeah.
now.
They are, yeah.
I mean, your average person, that's hard to afford $600,000 home, so,
You're right.
they're not coming here.
Building those homes
quickly.
don't have kids.
Do you know out of the 159 counties here in Georgia, how many give a senior tax break at age 70, like say Columbia County does? There again, I know Richmond's 65, I think that's too low, but the majority is 70 years old.
If seniors didn't pay taxes here, no young people would live here. They couldn't afford the taxes. I mean, somebody paid for you to go to school. Somebody paid for me to go to school.
You're right.
I mean, and to
I
me,
understand that.
education is the best thing you can give a child.
That's right, but
I agree with that.
there again, at 70 in Columbia County, and there's fine homes there,
But-
Champions Retreat.
but at the same time-
They stop paying school tax.
Do you see the people that are buying up the land in Lincoln County because they're tired of being in Columbia County?
Well, yeah,
And we're
right.
seeing it every day, and that's
You know?
that's the thing. I mean, I've got family that lives in Columbia County, and they love the fact that their taxes are low and they get exemption from things, but they're also looking to move in Lincoln because they're tired of the hustle and bustle, and they have young kids and they're looking to move the kids into a different school system.
That exemption that exists in Columbia County and Richmond County of 65 and 70, I'm not sure of the numbers, but I think that exemption goes away if your adjusted gross exceeds 30.
No,
It doesn't?
No, you completely come off of school tax at
Okay.
65 in Richmond County. You completely come off of school tax at 70 in Columbia County. Like, there again, here, you've got to make less than $10,000. I mean, do we have a lot of elderly or, low-income families here that they're all exempt? So who's picking up the tab? The majority of, what percentage? Do you have a percentage of how many people here are picking up the tab of the school taxes?
No, that.
The majority of it's homeowners, because most big landowners have it in conservation.
Conservation.
Well, homeowners-
So the homeowners are who are catching the blunt of the tax.
But some homeowners still can have a low income and be exempt. So they're completely off the books, even if they own a $200,000 home.
So,
$200,000 home is now $500,000 home if you live on the lake. And that's part of the problem, with your taxes going up almost 100%.
And that's the same in the building industry, and it makes no sense to me what,
But it's only been 5 years, It's a lot.
and you don't wanna sell your home, but it is nice to know that it's worth a lot more money than it was.
You know what?
It's gonna be all.
They can tell me that damn thing's worth $20 million. I ain't selling it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's nice to know though that
It's
it's.
nice to know, but I mean, again, I don't wanna pay taxes on $20 million. You know, it's just, that's the perspective that, hey, look, I'm here in Lincoln County. I'm here because I wanna be here. I came here. I moved here. My wife and I retired here. I'm good with that. I just don't.
I mean, we all feel your pain. We're looking for solutions. I don't know how. I mean,
So listen, we, as a board, we have asked the new superintendent as well as the previous ones to be very, I'm not gonna say frugal, but find cost-saving measures throughout your budget the whole year. And they've done that, and they continue to do that. And the unfortunate thing is that we still have to come up with some money somewhere. And if we could get the money from wherever this Miss Livingston says it needs to come from, Wilkes County or Richmond County or wherever, we'd take it and we'd be giving y'all money back, but we can't do that. It's got to come from where it's coming from.
I think what I'm
Mr.
again
Williams, I
stating
think
my
you found
opinion.
it.
I'm okay with the board, I'm okay with the school system. I understand that that's the infrastructure, it's got to be that way. Education is the number one thing. I'm perfectly fine with that, lower the millage rate by 0.5%, get to 575 and move on. The issue is what I said before, we don't have anything else other than people in housing taking the blunt of the tax rate. And what we need to do is look at the infrastructure of what we got. Why are we paying $230 a mile to mow our grass?
You need to be at the next board of commissioners
What the
meeting.
hell are we paying $230 to have someone mow our grass?
When's the next board of commissioner meeting? When's
because
it?
they can't get any help.
It's
It's the biggest problem.
Next Thursday.
At 7?
I asked Jim, the guy who
6?
used to mow our grass, and I'm not being direct to you, I mean, I just don't believe we can't find somebody to put on a tractor and let them ride it.
Next Thursday night at 6 p.m.
I'll be there.
at the courthouse. That's
I'll
who y'all
be
need to
there.
talk to. And I've already talked to somebody about exactly what you're talking about, so we're all here with you.
It just
Preach it
doesn't
to the
make
choir.
sense. I mean, and then, and the other perspective is a jail. Why we got a jail in Lincoln County? Why we paying $1 million to have a jail? There's no reason, how many people got in a jail? I mean, hell, we can subsidize that out, send them to Wilkes County, put all their butts in Wilkes County. Why we got a jail? I mean, Clay will probably kill me if I say that.
That's the Thursday night meeting.
Seriously, I mean, that's.
I mean, it
that's
is. Yeah, I agree.
These Major, that's $1 million.
He hears
It's
you.
gone.
He hears you right now. You on camera.
Oh, shoot, sorry. The problem is, I love Clay. I mean, he's gonna be great for the city. I think he's wonderful. Sorry, Sheriff, but I mean, that's just the way it is, but.
The problem with that, though, is that is incremental compared to what the Board of Education with the taxes for the school is. That's,
Well, what's our,
all of our
budget for the
property
school?
taxes, yeah, combined is about $3.5 million for the county commission. The bulk of it goes here.
That's right.
Yeah, about 60% of it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
65.
It's this is the expense.
But that's the right expense.
Of which 85% is
I was
fixed.
just fixing to say.
If you
About
don't have a
85% of it, we have no control over
Yeah.
it
If you don't have
whatsoever.
a school system, you're not gonna have any.
Well, the county commission says the same
Who the
thing.
heck cares to live in Lincoln County? You know,
Their-
it's cool.
The assessments, the increase in property values is mandated.
How many total students? 1,500?
Everything's mandated.
We're around 1250, I think. Between 12 and 13.
1,600 increased. How much did the state pay of that? Okay. I'd like to know how much. I was trying to, y'all remember how much that was? How much? The insurance.
When's the next meeting?
Thursday at 8:30.
How much did the state pay of that? They only allowed us so much.
They allowed it for full credit on the certified teachers.
Please
It's a
vote.
full amount on certified teachers?
But where we get
The non-certified.
which is.
Okay, I got you. Is there any other
We're glad
questions?
y'all interested.
Yeah, yeah, we appreciate you being here. Has anybody got any other questions for the school board? I mean, as far as that's concerned,
No, school's great.
we want you to understand that we are trying our best to have the best school system, the best athletic programs, everything we can have, but at a minimal cost to you. The last thing everybody you see here is taxpayers as well. We want it to be a minimal cost to this county, and that's why the half-mil rollback for us gives us the 500 and something thousand, and that will help us maintain. And so right now, we're trying to maintain. We're operating in the red, But we're trying to maintain with the money that we have, the extra money that we have, stored away for this particular situation. And so, yes, we are hoping it's gonna get better. The 13 million in houses, don't know what that'll look like in years to come, but we would love to have, I've talked to Ms. McNeese several times with the Development Authority. I know they're trying to bring different things in here, the camper places and different businesses that's come in. Yes, we would love to have some increase in funding. There's a lot of things at this school system we would love to do that we're not capable of doing because of the money. But we do appreciate your time coming out and speaking with us, letting us know how you feel, because we're right there with you.
I guess my only question is there somebody on the board or, conglomeration of you, are you going up to the State House, Georgia State House, and petitioning them to reduce some of these mandates that aren't value added? I understand there's mandates that are value added, but that are not value added.
Rob Leverett, our contact, that's who.
All right,
we
we've contacted
talked to.
Rob Leverett, talked to
Rob Leverett,
Rob
our
Leverett.
representative, he's from Elberton, and his number is listed. You
Yeah, you can,
call
we can
and
give you his number.
you usually have to get him to call you back, but he'll call you eventually.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if there was somebody on our board that's,
The different ones that we've called him, we've called and talked to him, personally about the different, just like the millage rate. If they would change that millage rate to where the equalization money, where that millage rate would be 10, that'd be great. But, in our
you couldn't do
situation,
that because then you drop below what your budget is.
And we're still not guaranteed that money.
That's right.
But we know we won't get it if we go below 14.
and another thing I've always questioned, and that is impact aid. We get $250,000 every year for the land that the Corps owns. That's the tax money they pay us. I really have a hard time believing that $250,000 taxes is enough money for all the Corps land in this county.
And we don't always get that.
We don't always
usually
get
do,
it.
but we don't
But
always.
all of the land from, if you own a lake house, from where your property joins the Corps, down to the water, all the way around this
1,200?
thousands of shoreline, we get $250,000 a year for that land because
From the federal government, you're
from the federal government, because we can't tax that property. And so I'd love to know.
That'd be one lot, maybe two lots. I know places where you can pay that much for two lots.
Yeah.
That's what they value.
And that's what we get, $250,000 a year, if we get that. Most of the time we do. But all of the land that the Corps owns, and that's what they pay us, there should be something that could be done where we could increase that value. Now, how that's taking
What did
place.
you call that? What was that?
It's called impact aid.
Impact aid.
Impact aid, that's correct.
That's how it shows up on if you get a copy
Yeah,
of this.
that's what you're reaching out to your congressmen and your senators about.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Email them. Call them.
Oh, I do, believe me. They don't like it.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I think.
Thank y'all.
I'm gonna go back and just do some research. I'm retired. I'm gonna take 159 counties. I'm gonna go one by one. I've got the printout. I guess it was Andrew Young's School of Business or something where they did that and showed all of them. And I just wanna see what the percentage is of all the 159 counties of the possible senior discounts. Or when I say that, age senior discount. And at least have that, I think somebody needs to know that.
When our property values drop, will y'all refund us the money?
Absolutely. I mean, if we can roll it back, we'll roll it back as much as we can, I can assure you.
Property values increased, but we didn't raise the millage rate
We're
for
actually
8
reducing it.
years.
Yeah, 8 years, the millage rate was never raised, and so,
But
We didn't
property
have
values
anybody come in
went
here then.
up. No.
8 years, we didn't have anybody show up. They didn't say thank you or nothing.
I mean, my daughter's been up here since, she's 43, so 37 years, but, and there again, like I said, I started paying school tax at 19 when I first bought my home, and I didn't have any kids, so, I understand that, but there again, there's just no break for a senior, age-wise.
and that's why, like I said earlier, the reason there's no break for a senior, if you take a look at some of the houses around the county and the amount of people that go to school in those houses and the amount of taxes that come from those houses, there's a lot of kids that go into school that somebody, basically you and I, are paying for, is what it amounts to.
I do have one more
Y'all
question.
have a good
Yes, sir.
Comment.
Thank you.
So you're talking about earlier about the buses, because I'm looking for ways to reduce expenses,
Mhm.
not necessarily, you know, what you guys are, you know, investing into the education, but for the bus system. Now, I've seen it not just in this county, but almost every county. So when the school's letting in or letting out, there's lines of cars to drop off their little precious packages, mine included. And I'm like, why aren't they riding the bus? So really, the bus, what is the capacity, the usage for the buses, you know what I mean? If, I don't know what a bus seats, 40 kids?
We have
72.
72 passengers, we have 40 passengers, so it varies.
Yeah, so how many kids are on the bus? Are there, all those people dropping their kids off because there's no room on the bus?
No, sir.
That's
They just
personal.
don't wanna ride
That's
the
a
bus.
personal
That is
choice.
That's
Right.
personal choice, that's correct. No, anybody can ride the bus, it's just a matter of they don't want to ride the bus.
So is that one of the mandated things, is you gotta have a bus route for no kids, or one or two kids?
We have more than that on the bus, and the buses, we've had double routes because we're still looking for bus drivers. So, we wanna make sure kids are safe, and,
Yeah. But do we get bus vans, maybe? Maybe it's getting a smaller van if
The
you only got.
the buses was one of our major cuts. We swapped from diesel to propane and it cut our fuel in half.
Yeah.
So it could be $2 million a year instead of $1 million.
And both, the buses,
Yeah.
we get, the state, I guess, pays for the majority of those. I don't know what it is
just seems
now.
like there's
Finding
less
out.
kids riding the bus than there was back when I was. That was your only option.
Yeah.
I mean, back when I was in school, you walk to school, ride your bicycle.
totally different
I
now.
guess they don't do that no more, huh?
Yeah,
Totally
you're running in air conditioning.
And we need bus drivers, if any of y'all
That's
got the free
Definitely
time, we would love
I don't
that.
have to take you.
She
up
might
on
be able to
the
help
job, because I need to pay my
I'm still
taxes.
working full time.
Well, we need bus
Hey.
drivers.
If all the kids ride the bus, you can say gas
Allocation.
So I either gotta move or I need a job. Y'all wanna hire me? My name
Thank
is
you all
Chris
again.
Bro.
I appreciate
I'm a transplant from Louisiana.
Hey, how much does the board get paid? That's what
Yeah,
I
I don't
want to know.
know, but I'm gonna need a job.
Not enough, I can assure you.
Please run next time.
Yeah. You cut all our salaries, it won't help your taxes.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are really engaged. I appreciate that too.
So if there's no further questions here, accept the motion to adjourn. Mr.
Second.
Monroe, second by Mr. Madison, all in favor. Thank y'all very much.